Last evening, I attended a summer solstice / St. John's Day celebration. It was held at a Lithuanian camp called Pilenai by Manchester, Michigan, which is like maybe about an hour south and a little west of here. We spent the afternoon weaving wreaths for our heads. The men were supposed to wear oak wreaths, but there were no oak trees, so this is a maple wreath. We should have taken a sauna bath, according to the traditions, to cleanse ourselves for the celebration, but the camp doesn't have one. However, the heat and humidity of the day provided a natural sauna for us to sweat in. We ate Lithuanian foods, including a pig roast, potato kugel, a dish that Ashkenazi Jews share with Lithuanian cuisine, and shashlik, or shish kebabs, introduced to Lithuania centuries ago by Ukrainian Zaporizhian Cossacks. We danced various circle dances, eventually around a great bonfire at nighttime. And we celebrated all the Johns and Janes. It's their name day. We sang folk songs into the wee hours of the night and more contemporary songs, but I was home by 10 o'clock because I had to rehearse my sermon and get a good night's sleep for my Sunday. At dusk, we cast our wreaths into the lake or onto the trees behind us to try to predict what our future for the next year would hold, how our relationships would last, who we would interact with. Traditions holds that couples would go into the woods to make merry on the solstice in the middle of the night. It's no surprise that March, 9 months later, has the highest birth rate in the Baltic countries consistently from year to year. I'm not making this up. In the middle of the night, folks search for the magical fern blossom that bestows eternal happiness. And so do raganos, which are these spirits, nature spirits, who know and hear and see and can foretell the future. They want that happiness for themselves. But this adds danger to the human beings who are searching for the fern blossom. And in the morning, we roll in the morning dew, the sacred solstice dew, healing our bodies and protecting ourselves with solstice sun water. But the raganos also collect this water with their towels and squeeze them out into jars and save that healing water for the entire year as well. Such are the solstice celebrations that I'm most familiar with. And I've practiced something similar in Finland, in Norway, and in Latvia. The Scandinavians call solstice, it's this really easy word for Americans to understand, midsommar. Yeah, there's a cognate there, isn't there? While the Slavic peoples call it kupola, which for Lithuanians and Latvians is easy to understand. It's derived from the word for bathing. Remember the sauna? Many different North American, European, and North Asian cultures have a great variety of solstice celebrations. They marvelously celebrate the longest day and the shortest night. Every year on the news, we hear about the Druids celebrating at Stonehenge in Great Britain. And this year, we saw the horrific vandalism that happened at this ancient site. American pagans of Anglo-Saxon ancestry, like Wiccans, practice the summer solstice holiday of Lilith. Their altar is decorated with seasonal flowers. A god figure made out of wooden sticks is placed on the altar. A loaf of fresh, baked, fragrant bread is also placed on the altar. And participants there too wear flower wreaths, and flowers decorating their outfits. At nighttime, a bonfire is lit, and the god and goddess are invoked. They chant chants, and they dance the spiral dance, which we will be dancing shortly. The god figure is decorated with flowers and thrown into the bonfire, with a spell of renewal being cast. The Sun King grown embraces the Queen of Summer in the love that is death, are the words of that spell. And then the Sun King symbolically dies in the fire. He sets sail across the seas of time, seeking rebirth on the Isle of Light. Then that loaf of bread is shared by all together with beer and mead in celebration of the holiday. And then the ritual circle is uncast. Summer solstice celebrations have a common element across many different cultures. Such traditions remind us, humans, that we are human, that we are earthlings, that we are of the earth, children of the earth. We are part and parcel of nature. The cycles of our lives are dependent on the natural cycles of the season. And solstice, this longest day, shortest night, is one marked point in the great turning of the year of the wheel, and also turning in the cycle of our lives. Traveling across the great state of Michigan this weekend, I saw flowers in high bloom everywhere. All these beautiful orange lilies along roadsides. I want to plant some in my ditch in front of my place. There are allergies in high bloom too for some of us as well. And the first fruits of the season are feeding us strawberries, some peaches, blueberries. The first round of hay crops have been mowed and are ready for the livestock, those great big circles of haze that you see drying on the fields in the farmland. And the winter wheat crop has already been harvested, and the fall crops have been planted. They're bursting forth from the earth. Alfalfa is like knee-high right now, and the corns are like almost waist-high. They'll be ready in a couple of months. Earth's ozone layer protects us and the earth from harmful solar radiation. And life on Earth depends on the moderate climate that the Earth provides, with all the oceans and currents and forests and terrains. In this great cycle of life churling in the oceans and in the atmosphere from which we drink, from which we breathe. In Star Trek lingo, we live, parentheses, together with the Vulcans and Romulans and Klingons, end parentheses, on a Menshara-class planet, an M-class planet that is suitable for human evolution with a breathable oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere. It's my understanding that science has actually adopted the designation of an M-class planet to indicate such a planet not only in our solar system, but in other solar systems. At solstice, the sun is the apex of her power, giving summer heat to our northern hemisphere. And most of the world's population lives on the continents of the northern hemisphere. Lest we forget, this is winter solstice in Antarctica, in its freezing total darkness, in its 6-month-long night. So here in the Midwest, in Michigan, we have just seared through a week-long heat dome that has baked and scorched half the United States, and it's still out east. Climate change is warping our fragile Earth environment. Coastal and inland cities are flooded, houses washed away, and people with various medical issues are suffering from the heat. Wildfires are raging rampant across the plains and hills of North America, in the United States, and in Canada. And this environmental devastation most impacts historically marginalized communities, like those who cannot afford to own an air conditioner or cannot afford to pay for the electricity that runs air conditioning. The death toll from heat-related illnesses has skyrocketed this past week. And advocates are advocating that environmental heat disasters like this be declared a pandemic and emergency that FEMA can respond to. Our greenhouse gas emissions have depleted the ozone layer, and there's a migrating, ever-changing ozone hole over the Antarctic. As we celebrate the solstice, how can we remember our commitment to environmental justice? We face political movements in our own country that deny the science of climate change. Science is real, is a core Unitarian Universalist understanding. We need to find ways to minimize and reduce our disproportionate human impact on our Earth's fragile environment. Not just for ourselves, but also for future generations, that they can have a planet where they can live on with a breathable nitrogen, oxygen atmosphere in a heat range that supports all the forms of life that we have before us today. And so today, as part of that effort, the spiritual bent, we will dance the spiral dance. You don't need your disco shoes for this dance. It's going to be very simple steps. So here's what we're going to do to do the spiral dance here in the center area. We're going to form one circle. It might be a little bit of a tight circle, holding hands facing inwards. And for those with mobility issues, I would invite you to come to these empty seats in the center of the circle, if that is comfortable for you, so that we can meet you in the dance in your chairs. And then we're going to start the chant. And then I'm going to start the movement of the circle, which is going to be a really complicated step. The steps are like this, and then this, okay? And then this, and then this. But as we do the steps, we're going to look over our shoulder to greet the people behind us and look over the other shoulder to see the other people. And when we spiral outwards, we'll be facing each other, so we'll be able to look into the face of every single person as we dance the spiral dance. So that sounds all very complicated, but it's going to work out in the end. Just follow along. So I invite you to come forward and form a circle. What? Okay. And those people who would like to come and sit in the inner circle, please come and sit here if you have mobility issues. Be at the mic. We could try to make two circles. We do have a lot of people here today. Yeah. Here, let's make some room for people to sit. Yes. Come here. Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't be dancing with us. That won't work. Okay. So let's try to have like one circle connected for starters, even though we might be in two rounds of one circle. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, sort of. Yes, let's move that sideways for safety. Okay. Are we ready to start? let's begin with the round of the chant, and then I'm going to invite everyone to join in.
We do it multiple
And
times.
then we're just going to repeat it, yes.
Okay.
Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each chain we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew the earth. Let it begin with each step we take. Let it begin with each change we make. Let it begin with each chain we break. Let it begin every time we wake. This year may we renew the earth. This year may we renew